We start by Maximilian. The first exercise for to state 3 potential usability issues with smartphones. This would be an excellent answer unless they demand to explain everything. So on Tuesday, explain everything. What's the difference then with between smartphone and laptop in finding menu? But why is it then difficult or more difficult than smartphone? What's the issue? Algasin mingi näite tuua? No konkreetne näide, mida sa otsid midagi? Okei, need on lihtsalt teises kohas, võib-olla teise nime all. Aga sel juhul see ei ole smartphone specific, sellepärast et kui see on erinev, if you have a different operating system, there are also things in different places and with different names. That's correct. Can be, because smartphones are not that powerful as laptops usually. So 2 out of 3 here. Next task was to outline one advantage and one disadvantage of wired networks. What is your answer, Eva, for that? Wait, it's much more difficult to access them without authorization. How do you explain that? But how do you explain that that it is much more difficult to access a device in wired network in comparison to a device in wireless network? Exactly, you should write it. We are currently analyzing the answers of pre-mapping, and this was the answer number 2 of Eva. Okay. What about disadvantage? Disadvantage. 3 points. Because that advantage should be written in more detail. A dude leaves a public internet point without logging out of any of their social network or mail softwares. And next dude starts using the very same computer without logging out from the previous dude's accounts. You outline 2 ethical issues concerning this use of the internet. Max. So this is 1 issue, right? The privacy thing. Number 6. Eva has done something. Point C. There was the description of the system for an orienteering competition, and in step C you should first, second and third of point D, and this is also worth 2, and this is also 2. So you should identify 2 sources of risk to human data in this online system. Then you should state 2 measures that the arrangers can take to address the risks identified in the previous step. Then you should outline the consequences to the competitor if their data is not adequately protected. Klar. Okay, this is one. Then step number 7. A new higher level programming language is being developed, and you should identify 2 reasons why consistent grammar and syntax should be essential features of a higher level programming language. Your answer, Eva. What's the good results? Then it should be written more clearly. And the next task was to identify 2 features of a user interface that will allow application programmers to interact more easily with the programming language. But Max has something for stating 1 method of providing user documentation.
User document,
You are the 3rd guy who has written exactly digital documents. Then you have not answered D, and E is... Have you changed the order or...
No, I don't think I've changed the order. Because I'm not aware of that.
Let's check the original. Here's another Maximilian. Made 1 minute ago. Why is it here? It should be here.
No, I didn't touch my file.
Okay. So number 3 then here. We should construct in pseudocode the algorithm for sum even. And here we have an algorithm. Input n if n is less or equal than null, display -1. Otherwise, int I is 1, a is 1, sum is null. While I is less or equal than n, sum is sum plus a plus 1. First the sum is null, then you add 2, then a plus 2 is 3. Okay, this is really a way how to do that. And number 4, you should outline the need for predefined subprograms and collections. What's your answer, Max?
Like if some piece of code is like easily applicable to many situations, it makes sense for like the people who maintain the programming language to add it, so that people don't have to bother with constructing it before using it. Like third setting, for example.
Mm-hmm. And now number 8. There was a description of the situation where humans can use cars and bicycles. Did you draw a diagram? There's no diagram, and here is no diagram neither. B. What is the difference between a class and an object? Your answer, Max?
That you can call methods and objects. I'm not sure, but I think you can do it in class.
There are also class methods.
Oh, okay.
C. Why is it important to have as little dependencies between objects in a given problem as possible? E. What is encapsulation? State an advantage of encapsulation. Eva. F. What is inheritance? Give an example based on the diagram that you did not create. State an advantage of inheritance. G. What is polymorphism? State an advantage of polymorphism. By the way, before I wrote this task, I didn't know what polymorphism was, although I had used it many years. But in the syllabus there is such a term, so you should be able to explain that. Eva. And why is it advantage? Can you bring an example in JavaScript?
No. I don't know.
We can try it. Function A. Doesn't seem to work as expected in JavaScript. Here I created two function declaration with the same name but different number of parameters, and it still uses the last declaration, although I wanted to use the first declaration.
Are there interfaces in JavaScript? Can you make an interface?
Yes, you can implement an interface. You just create a parent class with an empty method body, and then you inherit another class from that and write the content for that method, so overwrite that method.
Yeah,
I have written those into the file of Max, so I have set the points. According to the assessment policy, ma panin kõik punktid juurde. Is 37%, which means 3 or 4. Are you poor, Max? No, do the activity number 3, for which you didn't have time at all. First you should create a truth table for A, B and C, all the possible combinations, and then according to those combinations you fill out the other columns. For instance, false, 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 true, false, true, false, false, true, true, and so on. How many different combinations can there be? Not A means if A is false, then not A is true. If A is true, then not A is false. The inversion.
I don't really understand.
If the value for A is false, then the value for the statement not A is the inverse of the A, the true. If A is true, then not A is false. Exclusive OR. That means, for instance, for car driving, there can only be one driver at the time. You cannot drive the car while Michael is also driving the same car. You exclude each other. That means it's true if only one is present. If both are present, it's false. And if both are missing, it's also false. Eva, not A is correct. Peaks or C is incorrect. This is exactly what I explained. If B and C are two guys wanted to drive the same car, then they cannot do it at the same time. Only one driver may be there. So if the values are different, then it's true. If the values are the same, then it's false. Anyway, you have to do it for all the combinations. How many different combinations do you have there? But how many different combinations are possible? Calculate. How many different variables do you have? Exactly. If you combine those three, how many combinations do you get? Each one can have naught or 1. That means 2 possible values, and you have 3 variables. If you have one, how many different combinations? For instance, you have only the variable a. Which values can a have? Now you have a and b. What are the possible combinations? Exactly. And now you have 3. You can just start at the beginning by false, 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 then you change the last one to true, then the next one, until you get to true, true, true. Now ABC are different variables, and you should combine them in all the possible ways. Just if you go to the end and press tab, it appears automatically, or right click and add a new line, or table menu. If the challenge is too big, we can do some simple exercises for truth tables. No näiteks pi väärtus on 0, psi väärtus on 1 esimeses eas. Ja XOR tähendab välistamist. Praegu üks välistab teise, nad on erinevad, seega on tõene. Kui nad oleks ühesugused, oleks vastus väär. I create a new file for that in computer science. There are different operators, logic operators available, like not, and, or, XOR, binary, decimal, and hexadecimal. Which numbers are in use in the binary system?
1, 0.
Exactly. Note and 1. Which numbers are in use in decimal system? Which numbers are in use in hexadecimal system? How many different, which numbers are in use in ternary system?
0, 1, 2. 15 is 0 to 15.
We can copy paste those. What comes after 9?
10.
Now 10 is already 2 numbers.
No.
0 is here already. If you think of color codes in HTML or CSS,
Maybe 0, 1.
how do you write, how do you say that the color, colon, and what do you write after that? Or background color? Hashtag, and then there are 6 letters. Number A, number B, number C, number D, number E, and number F.
Can you name please with the types of
Name.
Yeah, like for to write Bin Laden and for
Okay.
follow them. Thank you.
And now examples. What's number node in all those systems?
What is what?
Actually, we can do it together. Felix, you fill out the first column for node. How to display number node in all those systems. This is in computer science and logic. In the column S, write how to display number node in all those 4 systems.
Number not?
Number node, yes.
What is number not?
Null.
Null. No? Is equal, yeah.
0 is American English.
Null.
Node is British.
No. Null. Okay.
Null is nothing. Null is not a number. Null is Russian.
And how did you name it?
Node.
No?
N-O-U-H, no, G-H-T.
It's like nothing.
Okay.
Exactly. Eva, you fill out the column T, how to display number 1 in all of those systems.
Yeah. My example was in the cloud.
It's not much harder for Eva.
Yeah. Agree.
Max, you fill out the column U for number 2.
So in the decimal, if you start from right to left, or how?
Why right to left? The first one is wrong
Don't they think
because you repeat note here.
maybe 1-1?
No, that's how it's marked.
Which combinations of notes and ones gives the result that is 2 in decimal system?
1-1.
What comes after 1? What's the next number in binary after?
0, 0, 1.
Okay, let's do here a test here below somewhere. Okay, if we have only 1 bit, then the value can be either node or 1.
Yes.
So there are 2 possible combinations. If we have 2 bits, then this is the first bit, then we also take the second bit. Actually, the first bit is here, and then the second bit. If you only use 1 bit, both values are nodes for the second bit, but we can combine them. 1 node and 1 1. This means that there are altogether 4 different combinations.
What? No.
Here are 4 different combinations.
Yes, okay.
That means 2 power 2. If you take the third bit here, and then the third bit comes into play. At the beginning, everything is so. It's not a good example. Now I refine it. So here, if you only use one bit. If we use 2, then there are 4 combinations.
What do you mean 4 combinations? You can use whatever you want.
That means here for the second bit it's note, nothing. They are actually the same combinations as those here. So I make here this thing. If you only use one bit, there's either not or 1, so 2 possible combinations. If you use 2 bits, there are 4 possible combinations. If you use the third bit as well, then note, and now the same things with 1, 1, 1, 1, and we just copy the values here.
Okay.
And
If we use 4 bits, then we have can I track? Yeah?
yes,
Because I need to understand this logic.
because if the second bit is not in use, the values are notes. If the third bit is not in use, the values are notes. If it is in use, then the value is 1.
Wait. Yeah, it should be like this, and then I'm copying. What the? But then I need
You can paste like Ctrl Shift V, then it only pastes without formats.
can you please
Ctrl Z
yeah.
is undo.
Okay. And Control Shift.
Ctrl Shift V is pasting without formatting, without borders.
Oh.
What did you know? No.
Control 7.
First you copy,
Okay.
and
like
then
this.
you without captions.
And then how can put it in different.
Move those to the correct placement.
Yeah. How?
Cut and paste.
Why? Why Control X doesn't work?
It should.
No. No, it should.
Yeah. Now you have it.
Like this.
Yes, and here is the fourth bit now. And how many combinations?
16.
This is 2 power 4. Now you see those combinations. What's number 2 in binary?
0, 0, 1, 1. No?
You count from top to down. This is
Oh.
note, this is 1. What is next one?
Yeah, so it's not zero, it's just,
Yes.
so that's what I had, and so it was wrong.
Now you have only note here.
What? Where is it?
Now it's correct.
No, but they had it like that before, when I first wrote it, I was saying.
Really?
Yes.
But I saw only gray box and 0.
Why 10?
No, I can send it.
Because we already used
Now, look now. This is note, this is 1.
okay.
Here is 10. Actually, this is not 10, this is 1 and note. or you can call it 10 if you want.
Okay.
Next one is 11, and then is 100, and so on. So as you see, up to 4, you can use 2 bytes, then you need the third bit as well, and so on. Michael, column number V, yeah, for the number 3 in decimal.
Number 3 in the row of binaries. Oh my god.
I did because you're too long.
Decimal is correct, hexadecimal is correct, binary is correct, ternary is incorrect. Three, there is no 3 in ternary.
Oh, wait. Okay, for the next one we are using more, yeah?
Yes, but now they are thinking what could be 3 in ternary. Which numbers do you combine? Exactly.
See, I am so smart.
What? Where?
Now number 4 in ternary.
Why is it 10 in ternary?
Because okay, you have used note 1 and 2 already. The next number for combining notes 1s and 2s is 10. Then it's 11, then it's 12, then it's 20, and so on.
Ah, you can only combine.
Because here, in the example below, there are only 2 different values. You can also create the same table for ternary. Then there is note 1 and 2 for the first. And after that you have to
Like this?
use the second one. For the 4, correct. Yes, number 8 in decimal is also important, so write what's binary for that.
I just have to do 1,000. Yeah.
Exactly.
Genius.
Next
Let's
thing,
continue.
next Eva, you fill out the column AB for the decimal number 10.
It should be 1,001.
No, 10. You fill out the column for 10. You have written 9. Fill out the other 3.
Can you create one more maybe?
Siis 10 systeemis 10, paljude teiste süsteemides on. 10 in decimal system, how much in other systems? Hexadecimal is correct. No, it's incorrect.
It's A.
Oh, it's A. Then it's correct.
Yeah.
Why it's A? 9. A. Yes, it's A. How much in ternary? How much in binary?
Here right now it's more because you can use only 3 numbers, right?
Yes.
But then in ternary, what is going to be 0 in the beginning and then
You have used everything with 0 in the beginning. Now you take the next number.
yeah, but in ternary you don't have next number.
You always have. You take the next. How can I call it? Next byte.
111? No, wait, 100, no?
Yes. Here we can also check whether we are correct. Is that's to pin and this one. That's actually 1010.
What?
Yes, binary was wrong. Let's do 15 first.
15, okay. Here it's not. No, in decimal it's not 15. Or is it?
Hexadecimal is wrong.
Because it's going only to 9, yeah? In decimal. Or it's going to infinite.
Why infinite?
No, I mean, in decimal it's going to be...
If 10 is A, 11 is B, 12 is C, and so on.
This in hexadecimal.
Yes.
But in decimal?
In decimal 15, how much is it in hexadecimal?
No, if in hexadecimal it's E.
No, it's not. No, it's correct.
No, F is 16.
There is 16 is something else already. For 16 you have to combine.
Okay.
How much is in ternary and how much in binary? Okay, ternary is not that important anymore, but in binary.
Why in ternary is not important anymore?
You can fill it in as well if you want to practice. Check whether it's correct. Now for 16.
Okay, for 16 it's... in hexadecimal is going to be like 0A or J?
There is no J.
No,
Now you have to combine them.
combine the first one and the last one, or first one and second one.
The same way as you combine in binary, ternary, and decimal.
In the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see.
In the first column you have used everything. Now you have to use additionally the second column. Binary is correct, ternary is correct. What's the value in hexadecimal?
Correct.
I can see the value move outside that block. Yes, 10 is correct. 1, not,
No, then 1.
not. Fill in other values.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, this is...
The ternary is kind of complicated now.
Why?
How to calculate it, but fill out the decimal and hexadecimal. You don't have to fill in ternary anymore. The others are pretty easy to calculate. Here you can already see the correlation. Yes, 32 is correct. And hexadecimal,
No?
no. Not sure.
Wait.
You see, between 16 and 32, how many are there?
16.
Exactly. And if 16 is 10, then 2 times 10 is... Exactly.
But let's figure it out for ternary.
I don't know how to figure it out for ternary now, because the numbers are pretty
Okay,
big.
well, let me just write and check.
Mhm. And here you see 64.
Yeah, here 40. Yeah. No, 40.
Mhm.
So is we do this correctly?
Let's check it. Yes, it's 40.
Mhm.
And binary?
No, let's check ternary for the last one.
Mhm.
No, we're in
That's
ternary.
correct.
No, correct what?
Binary.
No, but ternary.
I don't know about ternary.
Yeah, but can you check?
I don't want to,
Why? But we
because
don't-
it's not important.
Why?
Who uses ternary system?
I don't know, maybe someone? No? No one uses it?
Because usually for Boolean, for one bit, there are two possible values. Whether there is something or there is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you
So it's
combine
not-
it, you multiply by 2 every time. Then that way you get the quarter system, octal system, hexadecimal system. But it makes less sense to use systems in between.